welcome to DawnNews English. With 20 minutes, I'm Nadia Naqi with you. We have with us Raza Rumi, who's the founder, I would say, editor, and of course, the editor for Naya, Daur, a digital platform, and of course, a very senior journalist with us. And here we are sitting to discuss the talks that are taking place between the government and the PTI. There was a second round of talks today, and what we hear from both sides is that they're going to resume the talks on Tuesday. And the big question, of course, remains whether these talks are going to be fruitful or not, whether they're going to agree for a date for a general election, what is going to happen in the coming political days, or these talks are basically an eyewash. And the government is going to try their best to push it till 14th May, the day the Supreme Court has given for the elections to be taking place in Punjab. So all of this with Raza Rumi. Thank you so much for joining us, Raza.
Thank you, Nadia, for inviting me once again. I think your key question on whether the talks will be successful, I think you are better placed to answer that. Let me ask you. Are you optimistic?
I am optimistic because I got to be optimistic, as I feel that this is the only way forward for ending this political impasse, I feel. Otherwise, we're just going to be going round and round. As for what is happening, I know that you know a lot of information, what is happening in the power corridors. I want to know from you, do you think that these talks are being held for a meaningful dialogue? Or do you think this is just because to avoid any sort of contempt proceedings against the Prime Minister for not following what the Supreme Court had ordered?
Nadia, thank you. I think it's all of the above what you're saying. It's a political tactic. As you know, that the Supreme Court of Pakistan, after a very aggressive stance on getting the elections done on time on May 14th, then accepted a petition by a citizen asking for political dialogue, and it was admitted, and then the Supreme Court kind of backtracked and gave time to the political forces to settle this matter between themselves. Now, if you recall, this is exactly what Justice Athar Minella and Justice Mansoor Ali Shah, two very senior judges and fine legal brains of the country, had also written, and it's a matter of public record. Athar Minella wrote a note, while Justice Mansoor Ali Shah actually wrote a judgment, and in which they said that the Supreme Court must not get embroiled in political questions, must not become a political player or a political actor. And I would say, I would take it forward, must not appear to be partisan to any group. Now, it's very difficult in the polarized country that Pakistan has become, because one side or the other side will always accuse the Supreme Court. But talks are also a test for the political actors and players here, whether they have the capacity and capability and the initiative to take the matters into their own hands and not send it to unelected institutions like the judiciary and the military. Historically, the judiciary and the military have been deciding these big things. When are there going to be election? Who's going to be the Prime Minister? Who's staying in the race? Who's not staying? Who's staying out of the race? Because of the polarization and infighting within these institutions, a space has opened. And I see these talks as a reminder, as a testament to that space that has opened up inadvertently. I don't think anyone planned for it, Imran Khan or the PDM parties, but this is how it has happened, because we have a split judiciary and we have a split establishment.
But I also feel, Raza, over here, let me just add, I feel that the political parties have been thrown into these dialogues. They would have not done it. I mean, they had all the time to do it, but they weren't doing it. It's on, they're having it because of the Supreme Court. However, there are actually four players, I feel, and I would like very briefly if you could first comment on this, because there's so much of discussion going around, and we need to answer some sort of confusion that exists over here. A, do you feel that these talks that Shehbaz Sharif is holding, because we know that Maulana Fazlur Rahman is anti-political dialogue with PTI, have they been pushed by the establishment, which of course says that they are apolitical?
Yes, I think the establishment is behind this new development. There is no question. And there are reasons to believe that. You see, if you remember, a high-powered delegation of the Pakistan military briefed the Chief Justice and his two brother judges in camera on the security situation, basically telling them that May 14th election was unrealistic and that the security conditions did not permit them giving the troops. There can be a whole discussion whether that is correct or not. So I think, and you saw that there was a change of attitude, or at least that's what appears by the Chief Justice as well. There are also unconfirmed reports that high-level meetings took place between the two top leaders of these two unelected institutions. I have no means to verify it. I don't live in Pindi, nor do you, Nadia, but you are more well connected. So apparently a meeting or communication at least took place. So even if it's not a meeting, I think there are parleys that have happened, and that have also necessitated this talk business. Now,
so do you feel the second player, what you just said about an unconfirmed reports of a meeting taken place between the two, or some sort of communication between the two unelected institutions, that maybe the judiciary has also realized that they've gone really too far, and there's no comeback from it other than now probably having made these political parties sit down so that they can resolve, and judiciary can also be basically pushing out or pulling out itself from this.
I really can't say, Nadia, that the judiciary has realized anything. What I think they have realized is, it's very clear now, they have realized that there are limits to their power. So limits to their power, that they have given a decision, a verdict with the parliament, which the parliament has thrown out. And of course, there can be a discussion that it sets a very wrong precedent. So it means that Supreme Court now, whatever orders it gives, are not going to be implemented that easily, And because at the end of the day, who implements the orders? The executive authorities. And the executive authorities at the moment are pitted against the Supreme Court, the government of the day. And some people say even the establishment is not keen on May 14th election, or even early election for that matter. And some people say not even elections in October, but that's a separate story. So the Supreme Court has realized its limits. At the same time, the military has realized its limits. Earlier, General Wahid Kakar could take his stick and go to Nawaz Sharif and Ishaq Khan and say, sit down and be good boys, and there'll be new election. The military chief now is not in that position. He really can't call these two actors into GHQ because, first of all, they're under so much scrutiny, so much spotlight, so much criticism that they've been forced to push back. Now, these are really unprecedented developments, in a way where each political actor is realizing that there are limits to the extent that their will can be implemented. So Imran Khan has also backed. You see, earlier he was not ready to talk.
Absolutely. This I was coming to the third part. But what you said, that in the past there were boys who were made to be good boys. Here I feel that there is a boy who wants to be a good boy, but there's nobody taming the boy to be a good boy.
Yes, I mean, you can also interpret it that way, but let me elaborate that. I think Nadia, that the good boys or the good boy who wants to be a good boy. Currently, that is the key crisis because Imran Khan has through the last 20 years or so
Right.
has been patronized by Pakistan's deep state, and and we all know how he entered the parliament, how his image was built up, how he got the seat of prime minister in 2018. All of that is well known, well recorded. No need to go back. The role of Generals Faiz, General Pasha, General Zahirul Islam, and earlier General Hamid Gul. I mean, it's all written. But now there is a new Imran Khan post 2022 after being in power. You see, earlier his idea, if you remember, even when he was a PM, he said that I enjoy good relations, we're on the same page because I'm not corrupt. So the ISI and the military like me and they will go along. But even that hypothesis, assumption that he had, or at least what he projected, has proved to be completely false. Because in Pakistan, the key crisis always has been who wields power, the civil actor or the military actor. And ultimately, General Bajwa and Imran Khan fell out, and then, rest is history. Now there's a new Imran Khan. Now, this Imran Khan says that, I have this popularity. I have used anti-American card, I have used religion card, I have used corruption card, I've used, anti-dynastic politics card, I have the middle class with me, I have some generals with me, I have some judges with me, I have some media tycoons with me. Now I'm in a position of power to negotiate with my previous patrons. That is what he's doing. He is also showing them his power. You see, by defying the arrest warrants, by saying that, I'm not going to compromise. And his supporters are, I mean, if you look at social media, his supporters are saying that Imran is going to fix the army chief, he's going to fix the judges, he's going to fix the politicians, all of that. Now, what is that? That is the demonstration of your power. So we have a tension here, and until that is not resolved, this political crisis will not be over.
Oh, so you feel that unless this tension is over, even this political dialogue that is happening in parallel would not probably reap the kind of benefits that we need, especially in this polarized atmosphere that Pakistan is actually living in. But Raza, do you not feel there are so many views now? There's a view that says that Imran Khan, it's a defeat for PTI and its chief, that they're now sitting for negotiations, because they give examples like all the long marches that Imran Khan did, the Jail Bharo Tehreek, all of it has basically literally, how you say that it has fallen on deaf ears. And his demand of holding early elections never happened. And so his politics was entering, or probably had entered, in a tunnel, in a very dark tunnel with no way out to it, with no ray of light. And therefore, this is the only way that he could get out of it. Do you agree with that?
So, Nadia, I think, in part, it is correct that Imran Khan's high horse, he thought that the Supreme Court will come to his rescue because the military was not, the military top command was not, giving into his demands. So the judiciary did. The three-member bench did exactly what he wanted. They rewrote the constitutional article of 63A about, who's a parliamentary leader and who's a party head, and then, got the change in the Punjab possible, and then Imran Khan dissolved the Punjab Assembly, and then he went to the Supreme Court and said, get early elections so that, the Punjab election. Now, you can even see that even the Supreme Court has been brutally damaged in this process. First of all, the divisions became clear. Other judges thought that the Supreme Court was, going out of line and its constitutional boundaries. But also, the executive and the parliament stood up and said, we are not going to implement this decision. So in a way, it has been a defeat and success for all parties here. The biggest loser, I would say, in this whole process has been the establishment, because its historic role as the most powerful institution that can do anything under the sun has that particular impression has also been affected. So Imran has gained popularity. There is no question. He's
Okay.
now, if you hold the election, his party will do well. I can't say he'll sweep or whatever. That those
But
are
yes,
graduate.
he has a massive following. We must all
He has
agree.
a massive following and he might win the election. Okay, likely to win the election as a single largest party if you hold the elections tomorrow. The PMLN has come from out in the dead of the boonies, and it has come back to power. It holds the federal government. There is talk of bringing Nawaz back into the country. Mariam
Right.
is doing her politicking. You remember under Bajwa Faiz duo, Mariam was made to keep quiet for days and days and weeks, and then she was given the permission to speak, and then again. So they could not even do political mobilization. The PPP has gained a lot. Bilawal is the foreign minister. He is being tipped as the future, prime minister.
Prime Minister, yeah.
And in this tug of war, the PPP is gaining ground. The judiciary has also lost some face, but in the current standoff, it has emerged as an arbiter because of the
Probably the position that it has taken, the maximum position it has taken.
Yes, but you see, that is also linked to the fact that earlier it was the military establishment telling the judiciary in Pakistan's history what to do, whether to hang Bhutto or not, whether to restore Nawaz's government in 90s or dismiss Benazir's government or disqualify this PM or disqualify Nawaz for life. Now it is not getting those orders because the signals are mixed. So the judges have a free hand, right? So in a way, their power has also kind of increased, although they are now under their internal contradictions and internal problems. They are really pressurized. The net loser in this crisis has been Pakistan's establishment, and it needs to reflect as to why it has happened. In a way, it is not a bad thing. As a Democrat, I think that they need to stay in barracks. They have no role in political affairs, and let the politicians do their job. But having said that, neutrality is not going to be achieved overnight in 1 year or 2 years. It's a 70-year long process. So the current process, the coming back to the talks, if these talks succeed, it will be a good omen for democracy, honestly.
But what you hear of Imran Khan, when he had appeared in the Islamabad High Court today, he just said that I have instructed Shah Mahmood Qureshi. That's how it was reported in the media, that he had instructed Shah Mahmood Qureshi that if the government is ready to dissolve, the National Assembly as well as the other two provincial assemblies immediately and hold elections, that's how the talks will happen, or else there won't be there's no use of those talks. However, what we hear right now, and through sources, that the second round of talks, I think September is the month that has been proposed by the government, or probably a month where both of the sides can go back to their leaders, discuss, and come back.
Yes. So you see, the dates are key here. The dates are important because, as you know, Justice Bandial retires in early September, I think around the 13th, if I'm not mistaken, and Justice Qazi Faiz Isa takes over. Now, obviously, the government, the PDM parties have already established, or at least that's what they think, that Justice Bandial is not a non-partisan Chief Justice. That's their view. That's not my view. So let me clarify it for contempt of court charges. So it is what they've been saying. So they obviously want a change of guard at the top. The second thing is that it also allows the incumbent army chief to stabilize his control over the military a little more, because he is new. It has only been 4 or 5 months since he took over. He took over at the end of November, and it's been 5 months. And usually the army chiefs need 6 months to a year to have the complete control and command of the institution. It's a very big institution. Let's not forget, it's not a monolith. There are top commanders, there's rank and file, there are veterans, there are other formation commanders. So after 6 months is usually the time when the army chief, whoever it's Musharraf or Kiani or Bajwa, so he also needs that time, right?
But isn't this so unfortunate that our politics is around when the incumbent army chief can gain that kind of control over, his institution, what kind of a chief justice is going to be taking over. I mean, are we going to continue like this forever?
Unfortunately, I mean, I when I say all of this, I don't mean that that is what I believe in, Nadia, because it is very unfortunate, as you rightly say, and really I don't know when this is going to change, because I don't see any, because even now you can see, when the journalists apparently met Mr. Khan in Lahore, and
Right.
he said the same thing. He said that he's willing to talk to the army chief, but the army is not talking to him. I mean, that's the impression he gave. And then some journalists said, okay, we will play the role.
Oh my
Now,
God.
yes, we will play the role of being the bridge between you and the army as an institution. So that is the unfortunate side of our politics. But from a real politic perspective, because our politics is about the politics of the elites. It is their musical chairs, when everybody after 3-4 years wants to push out people and sit on that chair, as we used to do on our birthday parties, if you remember. They keep
Yeah.
it in Islamabad. So at the moment, that is the current deadlock that is there, that the military at some point will initiate dialogue with Imran Khan. That is the only way out, and in which basically the military would have to assure him and others that they are neutral players. At the moment, Imran Khan's fear, as I'm told, is that the military, he has actually said it in a rally, that his name has been crossed by the establishment. He said it in a public rally. Now, obviously, so that's why we are repeating it. So if he feels that his name has been struck off, he will employ every trick in the bag under the sun to undo that. So,
All right.
yeah.
So, thank you so much, Raza. Unfortunately, the time is over, but you know what? I would love to talk to you Tuesday, when they are saying that Tuesday is going to be probably the final day of these talks. Let's see how these talks are going to end, whether they're really going to be fruitful or not. On the other hand, I would really like to talk to you about Maulana Fazlur Rahman. The kind of eruption that we see from him sometimes makes me feel it usually happens when he feels that establishment is not going to be on his side, and there's some kind of negotiations happening. That's when I see Maulana Fazlur Rahman erupting, and I may be totally wrong, but that's what what happened in the past also, when he had gone with a long march to Islamabad. Also, we'd like to discuss with you the role of Parvez Ilahi. Where is he standing? And the fact that after the caretaker setup, that continues, there has been an application in the court file, which probably is going to start off on Tuesday, where they have demanded, the PTI has demanded, to restore the assemblies because the caretaker setup cannot continue. There are a whole lot of issues, of course, that needs to be addressed, and I'm sure by Tuesday you'll be in a better position what happens to comment more on it.
Yes,
Thank
I
you so
think
much for your time.
Thank you, Nadia. We'll meet on Tuesday, inshallah. But let me just one last sentence. I'm saying, these minor points about Parvez Ilahi and others and Fazlur Rahman. I mean, these actors, of course, represent different factions of the powerful groups.
Yeah.
The bigger question that we have is, if we don't resolve this deadlock, we are heading towards a systemic crash and a collapse, and that will hurt Pakistan and Pakistan's economy and Pakistanis immensely. This is why the political players have to rise up, and they have to act in a mature way to safeguard the interests of the people and the national interest. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. That's all for now. Take care and goodbye.